Welcome to Date with Danu right here on Hi TV, your luxury channel. Today is a very special show. We are thinking pink and there's a reason behind it. Only for the year 2020, 2.3 women worldwide were diagnosed with breast cancer. Now this is a constant problem that we have to deal with. But the right amount of awareness, checking and personally understanding how important your health is can prevent this, and that's the most important thing. Today we're going to talk more about it, but also as my first guest on the show, I have someone who I have admired as a cricketer, who I have admired as a person, more than all of that, as a wonderful human being. I'm happy to have the one and only Roshan Mahanama.
Hi, I'm Roshan Mahanama. Finally, I've decided to go on a date with Danu. I've known Danu as a kid. He is very close to my son-in-law and his brothers. So I know him too well and I do not want to divulge any state secrets. But I'm really happy for him. He's come a very long way and I wish him continued success. I think breast cancer awareness is very, very important. Not only breast cancer, any cancer for that matter, awareness is the key. We will be talking a lot about it during the show, and we all have a responsibility towards creating some awareness about breast cancer and also some of the other cancers.
For those who loved cricket in the 90s, you would have known he disturbed many people's sleep, including my aunt, who is constantly disturbed every time she sees Roshan Mahanama. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Danu, for the kind introduction.
It's always a pleasure. I call him Uncle Roshan, so I'm going to stick to that in case during the show, if you all do see me changing from Roshan to Uncle Roshan. So.
At the intro also, they want to know what I know about you. I said I can't divulge a lot of information because you know my kids and my son-in-law and so on. So I said I'll stick to what I know, and I said you've come a long way and I want to wish you well and continued success. So I think it's best that we keep it that way and move on with the program.
I know the whole process of even the first daughter getting married. We were there prior to even their knowledge. That's the most important part. Anyway, so we have all known you for being a cricketer and also someone who is very passionate about anything that you get involved in the conversations that I've had. Tell me, before we start anything, today do you feel that the fame, the name, the place that cricket gave you, do you feel that you are putting it to the best use?
Then let me put it this way. I did the sport not with the intention of becoming popular. I just thought that was something that I was good at. And in life, I think people need to select what they want to do, where their talents are, and I was very fortunate that I grew up in an environment where my parents allowed me to do what I wanted to do. Keep in mind, when I started playing, it was not very lucrative, but it's a passion that took me right through. But also, from my younger age, I was exposed to sparing a thought to the less privileged. I was very lucky because my father, who is my hero, mentor, whom I lost 4 years ago due to prostate cancer, was involved with the JCI movement. Subsequently, with JCs, they have to quit when they're 40 years, and then he moved on to one of the Masonic lodges where whatever they do, they keep it as a secret. So I know one of the things that they had to do was to help people in whatever way they could. And I know in Sri Lanka, we can be proud as Sri Lankans. We always come forward to support people when it matters. I think in the World Giving Index, Sri Lanka is in the top 5. And 100%. You can imagine the 2-3 countries just above us are Australia and New Zealand. So that's an indication, even with the little that they have, they come forward to give. And I feel that I know quite a lot of my colleagues, also prominent personalities, come forward to do things in their own way. And I would like to remind them that we should not wait for people to start campaigns. We should not wait for people to come up with initiatives. We all do have a responsibility, and feel free to support in anything that they like. But it's important that they come forward and look into the welfare of the less privileged. A lot of people think that doing service, especially charity, is by giving money. I don't agree. There are so many other ways. Giving money, I would say, I will put it as a last thing. It's your time, energy, knowledge. Above all, you need to have the passion and you have in your heart, and you need to feel for the less privileged.
That's amazing. So every time I want to rope him into a show, I have to tag it with something. I'm like, because he hates publicity. So when I first wanted to get him on my column, I was like, how can I make this happen? So I had to like find ways. And I remember when I got him for one of the shows, it was a bit of a like a favor. So he was like, I'll do this for you.
I must say this, Danu, don't think that I was putting my price up. You
No,
would have got that impression, but
not.
it's just that I've stayed away as much as I can. And since of late, I've decided that I will have to come forward and get the message across, especially in something like the breast cancer awareness program that they're having and they're doing. And also, there is another reason that I'm coming with the revised edition of my book, Retired Hurt, to the best view of the game. We were supposed to release it in June, but now we pushed it back to December, and it is not a money-making exercise. It's just to show people what we have gone through to reach what we want to reach in life. And also, I talk about I must be the first international match referee who's done a book just to show the role of a match referee. And also there is a small part where I talk about honesty, integrity, values. That's something that we are losing in this country, and we do have a responsibility to get that message across.
I'm so happy that we are still losing it and not lost it fully.
Let's hope so, but I want to put it in a nicer way.
Yeah.
But I met somebody even yesterday, and wherever I meet people who hold responsible positions, one of my requests is to go to schools. While we try to educate them on so many other things, educate them on the importance of honesty, integrity, values, discipline, and so on. I think that's priority from my point of view, so they can get an idea of how I feel about it in the book. Also, once I cover the cost of the book, everything will be, or majority of it will be used for charity.
Amazing. The first edition of the book, I saw it in his little display unit, and I was like, oh, this book, because of course in the 90s I was not reading any books, or even early 2000. So he was like, yeah, it's a book I wrote. And I asked him on a Friday, I think, when we were at dinner. On Monday I got a signed book, and I still have it, and it was delivered to me, and it was such an honor to know that he came all the way to give it, and I was like so excited. I got it on Gall Road, if you do remember. It was one of those passings that we've had to do. But he's also here. Now it's also the cricket fever. I wanted to just ask him one question. Looking at the cricket team today, do you think T20 is going to go our way?
Are you referring to the tournament?
Yes.
When we were taking part in the 1996 World Cup, no one thought that we will make it to the knockout stage of the tournament.
Okay.
Then must remind that we were unbeaten throughout the tournament, and we became champions. I know the boys have gone through a hard period, a hard phase, but I hope they have learned out of that phase, and I hope that they'll continue the good form that they have shown in the recent past.
Amazing. All right, on that note, we're going to take a break. If you have been watching Hi TV, you would have seen lots of information that we have been sharing in the course of this month about breast cancer, and that is all coming from a place called the Indira Cancer Trust. If you do know about this organization, you know the amount of work they have done in creating awareness, being there in supporting the women and men who are affected by this, and so much more. So there is one person who is championing this, and there is also a very personal cause behind it. We're going to be speaking to that person on the other side. So stay tuned. As my general physician told me once, every single day she has to break the bad news to someone saying, okay, it is cancer. It's not something that is so rare today for us to be like, oh, you got cancer. It's in every family. We have all lost somebody to cancer. My mum, she left us within just 2 weeks. And this just goes to show that cancer is everyone's problem. And this is the same thing that happened with the guest who I have. She lost her loving sister to cancer, and it was a fight that really shows what a mother has for her child. I'm happy to have Dr. Lanka.
I'm Dr. Lanka Dissanayaka, Chairperson and Trustee of Indira Cancer Trust. I'm here to go on a date with Danu. I think Danu's show is amazing, brings up a lot of current issues in a different light and raises a lot of awareness. Breast cancer awareness should be something that we talk throughout the year. It's the highest cancer in females in Sri Lanka and mostly globally as well. So it's an important issue that we must be discussing because it's a preventable cancer.
Welcome back to the show. So we are speaking about breast cancer awareness and also what we can do to prevent it. With me I have Dr. Lanka, who is actually the founding member of the Indira Cancer Trust. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Danu.
How did you and Roshan meet? And Roshan has become the spokesperson of this. And it's amazing that you were able to have a man endorse it, because that shows how important it is for men in their family also to promote this within the home. Just give me a little insight to how you all met and how this started.
Sure. I think what happened was we started the breast cancer awareness campaign last October, and then we were carrying on with the pink campaign. But Roshan had actually started this campaign called We Wear Pink on Wednesday. So
Right.
I think he has a very nice story to relate on that. And during last year's October campaign, we managed to connect. And it was a result of that, then we connected with him, because actually breast cancer awareness should not be limited to October alone. It should be a year out. Throughout the year, we should be doing it and talking about it. So his campaign on the Wednesday campaign is a good vehicle for us to move this message forward. So although trust was set up in 2016, going into breast cancer awareness was done in a very active manner only last year. So that was the beginning of this, basically getting Roshan's support for this, which is very much valued. And we started the campaign on a national level this January, actually January 6, 2021. And we have been continuing this every Wednesday. And we try to kind of pass on the message to any organizations, any people, just to wear pink. And the purpose of that is to remind people on self-breast examination.
Okay, great. But what was the reason why you initiated wearing pink on a Wednesday? How I got the news was your family told me.
Obviously, they wouldn't have told you the entire story,
Yes.
but let me tell you, when I was working for the ICC,
Okay.
this was in the mid 2015 thereabout. In Australia, the third day of the New Year's test is dedicated for breast cancer. Glenn McGrath Foundation takes over, and the entire ground is decorated in pink, including the stumps. Obviously, Test match cricket is played in white, but they have a strip of pink. on the shirt as well.
Right.
Then, after a few months, I noticed that the South African cricket team also dedicates a day for breast cancer, and their entire uniform turns into pink. From green. During that period, while I was going through some magazines, I noticed that there was a global campaign called On Wednesdays We Wear Pink, and I just thought, looking at the females in my life, I need to show my support. When you say the females, we all have a mother, some of us have sisters, some of us will have a wife, daughters, and I'm sure I've gone a step further than most of the people who are my age. I've got a granddaughter as well.
Anyway, your family, I think it's more female heavy.
I'm outnumbered,
Yeah, you're
outvoted at
outnumbered,
home, but that
100%.
was not the reason. I thought I had a responsibility to do it in my small ways. So for the last 5-6 years, on a Wednesday, I was wearing a pink shirt. I had only 2 shirts, and people would have been wondering, is this all that he has? But then, because I was doing it silently, it didn't matter. And last year, my social media is handled by my youngest daughter.
Right.
We decided to do a pink post in September when I was wearing a pink t-shirt on a Wednesday, And then she realized October was dedicated for breast cancer, and then she said, oh, we've just put one few weeks ago, but I said, doesn't matter, we need to support the cause and keep posting if you can. And I think on seeing that, somebody at Indira Cancer Trust had noticed and then spoken to Dr. Lanka. Dr. Lanka, through my son Kalindu's mother, who's also a doctor, approached me and said that they were keen to discuss about why I was doing and so on. And when I noticed the work that they had done, I just thought I need to have an organization to work together, and we got together in January this year. That the idea came from the ICT. That's when we launched in January, and since then I know quite a lot of my friends, even people who are overseas, Sri Lankans, have decided to show their support towards this cause. And I also must say that since my daughter, youngest daughter, has gone to the UK, there's another girl who helped me with my social media activity, because I have no time, because I feel sometimes we get distracted and spend so much time. And she's also a young girl, and I was talking to her about promoting breast cancer, and also I said I want to start this campaign about prostate cancer from next month. And then she was talking about breast cancer, and she said, fortunately no one from our family has got affected with any kind of cancer. But I said, hang on, that's not the reason. I said, you all have a responsibility, you all don't know the statistics. It's the female population that, majority of the female population that could get affected through ICT. They have got the TLC campaign, and this is something that you need to learn and then pass on to your friends, loved ones, and so on.
It doesn't restrict you when it comes to where you started or what you started for. I think it's just something that we have to always promote. This has a very personal connection to you. You lost your sister to a ruthless battle of cancer. We're going to touch more on it, and I want to know the story and how it was at home, because no cancer story is the same. Every single person deals with it, suffers through it, and affects the family in so many levels that you will never know, because it's like you are fighting a clock that is going to stop just before your eyes. We're going to speak more when we do come back. Do stick around, because on the other side, we have another guest joining us. See you soon. So it's always great to know that more people are coming forward in supporting breast cancer awareness. As you know, Crystal Luxury Wellness is the title sponsor of this show, and the fact that Hi is also doing this, Crystal Luxury Wellness is also supporting this cause. I thought it's just ideal that we bring everyone under one roof, and I'm happy to have the lady who makes us all look fabulous, and at the same time who looks fabulous any time of the day. I have the one and only Dr. Shani, aka Beauty Doctor.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shani, and most of you know me as the Beauty Doctor. Well, I'm here today to go on a date with Danu. I think it's the only show in Sri Lanka which is witty, funny, does some education, and also worth watching, not wasting your time. How important is breast cancer awareness? Well, it's very important because it's still the first or the highest cancer diagnosed in women in Sri Lanka. And every day, 12 people are diagnosed. So, awareness is really important, isn't it?
Welcome back to the show. So now my set is complete. I have Dr. Shanika. Thank you for joining us today. Crystal Luxury Wellness, who is the title sponsor of this show, is also very passionate about doing this under Crystal Foundation. Tell me, why was it important for you to start this year, this particular project?
Well, as you know, I lost my dad 2 years ago. It's almost 2 years for this month. And you know, at the funeral, we never realized there were thousands of people who came forward and who said, you know, he supported us in this, he bought this medicine, he did this, he supported my child for education, he supported my, you know, family when we were in crisis. And you know, he has lived a life of, he wasn't bragging about it. We didn't know, me and my mom, we had no idea that he has been spending all his salary. He was just an engineer. He wasn't, you know, running a campaign or anything of the sort. But a human being, ordinary human being, has supported so many people. So Crystal is my mother's and my baby, our legacy, and I don't want it just to be a company. We want, we created Tati's Foundation, you know, to honor him, to continue his legacy. We don't just want Crystal to be a business, we want it to stand for something, to support, to continue the cause he started.
That he never spoke about.
Yeah, he never spoke about. So we have two arms, one to continue the legacy that he started, to help people study for students who can't fund themselves, and the other one we wanted to, like I discussed with you, to support a worthy cause. And then we came up with let's support one of the most prevalent, you know, cancers, I mean, that is there, because it's still, no matter how many people support it, there's still a big need for it. And why not help raise awareness? And
also Crystal is, I will say, made by some very strong women. So it's always good to know that the passion comes from a good place. And if you believe it or not, just in 2020, over 650,000 women died due to breast cancer worldwide. And this is just stats that we know, but there's so many that we will never know. Lanka, coming back to you, the story about Indira is a story that went viral at that time, over the fact that she was courageous enough to say no to chemo and yes to the baby. Making those calls would have taken a lot out of you, your family, and even her. How was it?
I think looking back on the time, it was very difficult, and actually even the last stages, I mean, my father set up the foundation. It was actually about 20 days after she passed away, 27 days. The decision to not to have chemo was a decision she made, which we supported, because she was someone, she was, when you look at her background also, she was a lady with full of compassion. She led an absolutely healthy lifestyle. She ran the London Marathon. She was a vegan. So she had no reason to get breast cancer in the first place, but she did. She did. She got it in 2008. She went through the chemo, she went through surgery, and all the time she faced everything with a smile on her face. She never stopped working. She worked from home. Then she recovered from that. Then she had her first baby. She was absolutely fine. And then with the second pregnancy only that she found that the cancer had spread. So that was a shock to her, to us, because that was never expected. She was given the all clear. And then at 28 weeks, the baby was born. But we respected that decision. And I think most of all, I think for a parent, because it's only just myself and my sister in my family, and we are a very close family. And both my parents found it very difficult accepting that decision, but we did. And she was also someone who always spoke of life in a different angle. She always felt that she would not live very long. She spoke to her daughter, who was 5 at the time, and told her, you know, explained to her that she might not be around. So those are like premonitions that she had. We respected her decision, because children, she was an amazing mother. I mean, things she did for the children. I mean, I have 2 daughters. I've never done things that she has done. So she valued I think being a mother was something she really valued, and she was prepared to make that sacrifice. And as a family, I think we had to respect that decision, but it was very hard. I think it was more harder for my parents to face that. And the result of, you know, making this foundation was also, my father always said, you know, he doesn't want any other family to go through what they did as parents. And also the death that she had was a dignified death. I mean, this is something, we do have cancer, we detect it early, we have to, whole purpose, she had breast cancer. So, you know, whole purpose of talking today also is that, you know, we convey the message that breast cancer is curable if found early. So, but then we do have a proportion. In Sri Lanka, there are 2 deaths every day. Every day 12 women are diagnosed with breast cancer. So we have to face fact. And if death is inevitable, if it's at the last stages, we must also give them a dignified death, a pain-free death. I think that's very important. I mean, that's human rights. That's part and parcel of a humane society. So that was all given. And also the support we got as a family. She was unconscious for 7 days, and my family, my father was there holding her hand every single day. And that was very tough, but the support we got from the medical staff, the religious people, all dignitaries came in, visited, was amazing. So, you know, the day my father, you know, just stopped, he took the hand off and she passed away, but very, very peaceful death.
And that's something that we can all wish for.
Yeah,
a
exactly.
goodbye that is pain-free and peaceful.
Exactly.
And knowing that you have done what is needed while
Yes.
you spend your time on earth.
Exactly.
They always say, I know it's quite weird to say it, but the best form of cancer that you can get is breast cancer.
Yes.
Although it sounds really scary when you say it. In terms of this particular project that you all are doing with Indira Cancer Trust, there's so many projects happening across the country, like we have seen at hotels and all, like a lot of people partnering up. What does Crystal want to contribute and work towards?
So, what we discussed with Dr. Lanka and her team was, so for the month of October, we have merchandise on our online store where we would want to encourage people to raise awareness, you know, wear it, raise awareness. It's about giving that conscious thought. You know, if I wear a T-shirt, if I wear, you know, a pin, and you see me wearing it,
It rings a bell.
It rings a bell, you know, and we have women in our lives, mothers, sisters, colleagues. So it'll ring a bell, and even to, you know, check ourselves. So we have merchandise on our Crystal online store where people can buy, help the cause, raise awareness at the same time. And also we want to, going forward, contribute. We have a special project that we discussed together. Crystal is all about bringing up confidence, making people look and feel good. So breast cancer victims, also when they go through chemo and treatment, there is the donator wig. What do you,
That one is there, and also I think the breast prosthesis was
Yes,
something we
yeah.
spoke about.
And scars. These
Yes.
are all things that Crystal is known for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to, because it's something that you don't talk about, but I've had so many mums, especially, who don't want to show their little daughter that what they're going through. So they want to, it's not even about vanity, it's not even about them wanting to look
Yeah.
good. It's about wanting to be strong for your child and
Yeah.
your family. So there is very few opportunities in the country to help them. So when I spoke to Dr. Lanka, I thought it was a great opportunity to partner and to give this worthy cause a shot, you know. And one more thing was, the reason why we collaborated with them is so many people have programs, so many people have awareness campaigns and donating, collecting money. And I wanted it to be with someone that the money is not misused.
Yeah.
Or, you know, there is some, you know, process to it.
And it goes to the right end.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know one thing for sure, if this man is involved, you have no hope of doing anything wrong. We're going to speak more when we do come back. Do stick around. Welcome back to the show. It's Date with Danu, as we dedicate this show for breast cancer awareness, and also to remember the month of October is dedicated to this. And every Wednesday, if you can, wear pink. I think it will just create more awareness on it. Speaking to Roshan about it, I'm sure in this 1 year of working, or nearly a year of working with them, you would have met many people who have been helped by Indira Cancer Trust or even otherwise. What has been one of the biggest things that these ladies have spoken to you about in terms of being diagnosed with breast cancer?
Danu, let me first thank you as well for putting this partnership together. You played a silent role. Like I mentioned before,
Thanks.
it's not about money, it's all about networking and getting that message across. I'm involved in a few charities, listening to Shani. I wish I can say that I have my own foundation. That's one of the things that my father wanted to do. Because of my commitment, I was a bit reluctant, because you said it right, I'll be dealing with other people's money and if I'm not accountable, that will affect me. So I work with so many different organizations, and one of the things that I'm closely involved is with IIT Center of Excellence for Kids with Disability. And what I've realized it with that, and even with people who are detected or diagnosed with breast cancer, the stigma. So I just thought we need to come forward and speak about it and get people to for them to realize that there are people to support. It's nothing to be ashamed of. These are things that we have to go through, and I've told my kids as well, if I'm diagnosed with a cancer, come out and say, don't hide it. We still have this in our society. We should accept them. Even these kids with disabilities, I know there is a debate, they are saying that they should be called differently able, but globally it's not still accepted. But parents go through a lot of hardship. You quite rightly said, it's not, sometimes it's a patient as well as everyone around them. So it's about getting that message across and showing that we are there to support. And that's why I always say that don't wait for anyone to come and encourage you to do something. We do have a responsibility, and that's one of the things I realized. And during the same period, there's someone who's helping us even with ICT. I don't want to mention the name. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's helped me in so many ways. When I built 2 schools, through their foundation, because if I mention the name, obviously the connection will be there, but through their foundation, they give school items for these kids to use them throughout the year. So they've come forward, and then I thought, yes, we need to keep talking about it, get this message across. And she said she had just gone into a routine checkup, and that was when it was diagnosed, detected.
So it's just so unpredictable. One thing about death is the fact that, okay, we all know death is on its way, and when it happens without prior notice, it's acceptable. I think what we as humans really fight with is knowing that there is a bit of a scare of death. But more than the person who is actually affected, I think people around are the ones who need so much of help. In terms of dealing with cancer, Indira Cancer Trust helps a lot of the victims who are affected by it. But how have you all worked in helping the families or the kids or the husband or anyone who is related to this problem?
I think, Danu, you're quite correct, because cancer, the disease cancer itself, you can't treat the patient alone. It's something, unfortunately, like you have blood pressure, you have heart disease, you have diabetes, that doesn't affect the family, but cancer does. So when we manage a patient, I mean, patients walk into office, we are just a few steps from the main hospital in Maharagama. The patients come with a family member. So our programs are geared towards, so we are very fortunate because in the years that we have been there, we've been able to help patients in any way. So it could be medicines, it could be investigations, it could be their children, who needs education help. It could be that they have no income. It could be that they need a counselor to talk to them and their family members. So everything is catered for in all the programs we do, and catering to the needs of the family is basically part and parcel of the whole support system. So everything we do centers around the patient and the family itself. So we take that into account in everything that we do.
I think it's also very important, I'm sure, well, I have my side of the story, although my mom had colon cancer. We eventually gave mommy a book because we had to eventually start working after like staying at home for a week. And we told mommy, just write whatever you think throughout the day. So like even recently, whenever we miss her, we'll just read that book because that's the last thing that she wrote. She's written like, I was feeling a bit hungry but not in the mood to eat. Danu just left to work. But those little sentimental values also come with this because you know that you might lose this person and in front of you. So that is something that we have to all find a way of coping up with. I think more than the whole thing called cancer, I think we need to also build a community that's willing to support each other during this time, and that's the most important thing. Shani, you work with people who have been beaten when it comes to their self-confidence every single day. I know there are girls who have come to you saying that my marriage has been cancelled because some idiot of a man has thought that the acne is too much or the dark circle is too much, because everyone feels like they need to get this magazine cover girl. How have you worked with that? Because there's a lot of emotion, just not only layers of skin.
Well, with my patient, even though I'm an introvert sometimes, with patients I can build a really good relationship, and that's one of my strong points. And medicine is anyway not about writing a prescription, it's about healing the person mentally, emotionally, and medicine plays one role in it. So I think social media has its good side and its bad side, and men sometimes feel, some men, I don't want to say all, some men sometimes feel that the wife or the girlfriend or the fiance has to be a particular type, complexion has to be this, and it's also not them, you know, it's the society again. You know, if you open the paper, it always says fair, slim, bright. Nobody says like a educated, good girl. Just that it's mostly, it says a physical attribute that they want. So the other people are kind of pressurized to fit into the norm.
Fall into that same thing.
Yeah, so I talk a lot about being confident, accepting your positive aspects, you know, how good you are as a person, your talents, and not let another person tell you that you're not suitable just because they think so. So I enjoy talking to them and finally giving them that confidence.
Anyway, Sri Lanka is blessed with more women, if you do know that. We have a ratio, vice versa, they're higher. So we gotta listen to them. We are going to see you on the other side. Do stick around. It's our last segment. I also have some photos of Indira, which I want to ask about some memories when we do come back. Do stick around. Welcome back. I really do want to ask Lanka. I know this can be a bit of a painful past, but also it's a past for us to know about the struggle. You know, it's not something, it's not a storybook that we are reading a story about, but this is actually real life, and this person did find the strength to fight this. Can you tell me about this moment? This is when her kid was born.
Yes, that's Dilan. It was on the 15th of May 2015. So this was the picture soon after she came back from theatre, and holding the baby. I mean, I remember the emotions she had, the struggle she went to, but holding that baby in her arms at that point. I mean, every mother goes through this, but it was much more.
I think at that point she didn't remember a word called cancer.
No.
Yeah. Wanted to ask you, this is who she is. I think she's a very headstrong person. Nothing can bully her out of it.
No. So she knows exactly what she wants to do, but the thing is, our family is very close, so 4 of us, so but she was very mindful of that. But one thing I want to reiterate was, when she was in her last stages, the last word she spoke was, my father was in Switzerland at the time attending a meeting, and I had flown in from, she had given me a call, and I had flown in from Sri Lanka. When I went in, she spoke to me, she was fine, she walked. But then towards evening, she was deteriorating. Then my father was in Geneva, and as soon as he came, the last word she spoke was, she wanted me to make a cup of tea for my father. She was very mindful of, not because of the relationship she had. And she always told me that she would never want to be around when they grow old. So that was again something that she always, and she felt, I told you before, so she felt that she would not stay long to see all that, and she had mentioned that to her husband as well when she.
There's so much that she knew within herself.
Yeah.
That did you all like fight and do the usual thing like sisters?
She was the naughty one.
Yeah.
So I had to have a lot.
As well.
I had to have a lot of patience. So she used to get angry. So I still have some marks on my arms. So but
Yeah, I can see.
she was the light-hearted one. She had a lot of fun. She was very friendly.
You are the serious,
I'm the
more
serious
grounded
one, yes, the
family person.
boring
Yeah, I
one.
understand. She did live a very active life.
She did,
Her story is available online. You can read all about it, which is spectacular. And the fact that in her very short interval on earth, she has made such an impact, and her legacy lives on with what she believed in. That's very important. As Indira Cancer Trust, how can one person contribute? Come forward if you can.
Danu, before that, Shani got me thinking on few things I need to mention about that. One is mention about men looking at beauty. I think I need to give that advice. You need to look at the inner beauty. That's what's. And the other thing is, you just mentioned, she mentioned about leaving a legacy. One of the things that I learned being in the ICC early days of my career there is to try and leave a legacy and go. I was very fortunate that I had parents. Shani reminded me a lot when she spoke about the father, and I was very fortunate that, like I mentioned before, that I grew up in that environment where, from a personal point of view, it's not about someone being an academic or not being an academic. It's all about being a good human being. That's something that we need to drive and get that message across. If we do that, obviously we'll have more people coming forward to support similar causes. How people can support Indira Cancer Trust is by networking, not only helping them if they have a problem, approach somebody. I'm sure Dr. Lanka will give the numbers. I can say in these 7-8 months, there have been 2 organizations in Australia who had events, and they decided to contribute the funds towards ICT. And next week, I just went into a event in the UK, and in the UK, generally people charge going into events, but that was a Sri Lankan event. And wherever I went and spoke, that was the second event, I said, what I want is nothing for me, but if you can make a contribution towards one of the charities that I'm supporting, then you'll make my day. And these people have come forward to make a contribution towards ICT. So just to get the message across, and Dr. Lanka will give the details for people to know.
Social media?
Yes, we are present on Facebook, Instagram, and also we operate Sri Lanka's first helpline for cancer, which is also an information line. So the phone number is 0112 636 211.
All right, we'll put that at the bottom for you all to take a look at it.
Yes, and so anytime but please do connect. And one of the main things we, as the organization, what we say is please give out your time. The best thing you can give a cancer patient is your time. So that doesn't cost anything. Then second stage, you come. We always say you come and see what you do. You must always, even with fundraising, you must always see what the end result is, because there are, behind those numbers, there is a face and there is a story. I mean, so many stories are there.
Definitely.
And that really helps you, and it gives you the satisfaction of knowing that you have actually made a difference in changing someone's life. I think that's the beauty of the whole thing.
We have shared one story on this show already. I think it's just, you have to be in the shoes to understand how painful it is. Shani, thank you so very much for the contribution that Crystal Luxury Wellness is doing as well. So remember, during the month of October, if you have done a treatment there is a percentage that's going towards the Indira Cancer Trust. So not only about you building your confidence, you're also giving a chance for another person who is broken at this very moment to rebuild their life. So thank you so very much for not only supporting this cause, for being on the show and doing the usual. She's a new mama in town. She just had a baby as well, and she has been out of the scene. It's the first time she has dressed up in a long time to come for the show, so thank you so much. Means so much. But her motherly instincts have already kicked in. She's like, I gotta go back, which is amazing. But more than anything, I'm so happy that I got a chance to work with you all, representing Hi as a brand and also individually. And I think I've got a chance to come to know that there are so many people who open up charities and organizations to help. But sometimes that what always holds us back is the fact that is it actually going to the right place? Because that's something always that's haunting us, because not about giving the money, but you also want to make sure that it's reaching the right place. But this I can vouch for, and I know for a fact that you are helping someone every single time. Thank you so very much, Lanka, for sharing your story, for being here, for being strong enough to take such a broken story and to give it such a wonderful life. And that's very, very important. I must say, Uncle Roshan, on a personal note, very rare you find people who are actual gentlemen playing the gentleman's game. He is one, not only in public, in person, at home. The respect that he has for people, the humbleness he has in him is genuine. And as somebody who knows their family, I always have a lot of respect for him. Shani, of course, is fam bam. So I always do love her, and thank you so very much for joining us on a very special episode. Please do continue, share the information, and let's find a way to reduce this sad news that might hit someone. Until we see you with another cool episode, today is Danu. You take care.